a humorist. He's funny. You guys are gonna like it. Give it up for Alan Ira.
Scarf. Scarf.
Okay. Short guy. There we go. So, shingles. Yeah, ew. So I got my shingles vaccine and my 2 pneumonia shots, measles, Hep A, Hep B, tetanus, diphtheria, and whooping cough. And of course, my flu shot. Oh my God, I had the flu once back in '77. Oh. I woke up one Saturday, as sick as a dog. Well, wait, I never seen a dog that sick. 102 fever. I kept pumping myself full of liquids and soup and aspirin, but it all kept leaking out just as fast. So it was obvious I wasn't going to work Monday. So the company where I worked up in New York City as an accountant had about 500 people, and you didn't call out sick to your boss, you called into HR. And at this company, HR was 4 people. It was 2 incompetent clerks, a whiny secretary, and this little manager who was this rat-faced weasel. And he was about 5 foot tall, about 98 pounds, just, I think he bought all his suits at Macy's in the boys department. He had a bad comb over, and he spoke through the center of his mouth like this, as if the edges were super glued together. And he loved to quote the HR rules and regulations. And he knew them all. Paragraph, section, subheading, subparagraph. So I called in Monday, called in Tuesday. On Wednesday, when I called in, the weasel says to me, well, you've been out for 3 days straight, so you have to have a doctor's note before you come back and get paid. What? Well, Human Resources Rulebook, Section 3, Paragraph 2, Subheading 1 says you gotta have a doctor's note. No note, no pay. What? What are we, 12 years old? I got 102 fever, I'm sick in bed, I haven't held anything down in 5 days. What the hell? He goes, no note, no pay. You know what the rule book says? Shove the rule book! But it was too late. He'd already hung up on me. So Thursday, I got my stinky, sweaty ass, fever-ridden ass out of bed, put on a suit, a starchy white shirt and my tie, and staggered over to the subway, where I hurled twice. Which didn't really matter because New York City subways mostly smell like piss anyway. And then I heaved a 3rd time at the corner of Broadway and 53rd, but that was mostly dry heaves. So before going into my office building, I stopped into the corner coffee shop and chugged down an extra large caramel latte and scarfed down 2 glazed jelly donuts, complete with red, white, and blue patriotic sprinkles. And I popped the thermometer into my mouth as I rode the elevator up to the 5th floor and HR. Stepped out of the elevator, walked into the weasel's office. He froze when he saw me coming. I looked terrible. I was sweating through my suit. I was pale. I was gaunt. I looked like a soup sandwich. And as I got up to him, I took the thermometer out of my mouth and shoved it in his face. I said, read it! And he said, 102.8. He said, but where's the proof that you're sick? Where's the doctor's note? You know what the rules say. The rules bubbles, that was the 2 seconds I needed. I felt the rumble, and then the gush. Now, some people can just contain it in that little airsick bag. Close it up, pop a breath mint, you're good. Some people need a toilet. You know, a couple of heaves in the bowl, quick flush, wash your face, gargle, you're done. Then there was my ex-wife, Nancy. She put the projectile in projectile vomiting. Her shotgun pattern was legendary. She'd get her face right down in the bowl. No matter, a couple blasts later, and the toilet and the entire wall, floor to ceiling, was covered. It was epic. And that's, in effect, what happened at HR. Well, not at HR, to HR. Well, not to HR, on HR. A single torrent, floodgate torrent of biblical proportions spewed forth, painting the weasel, his secretary, his assistants, his desk, and 3 of the filing cabinets behind him with this sticky goo of caramel latte and 2 partially chewed but completely undigested jelly donuts with red, white, and blue patriotic sprinkles. Oh my! He squealed. He jumped up out of his chair, ran down the hall. Oh no, oh no, oh no! Ran into the men's room, peeled off his suit, his shirt, his tie. Ran out of the men's room wearing nothing but his boxers and his wingtips. Ran down the hall to the employee locker room and the emergency showers. The next day, HR started hurling around lunchtime, and they all had to go home sick with fever. Maybe the flu. Well, by the weekend, I felt much better, but I decided to take the whole next week off. You know, regain my strength. Who is going to question my sick days? Certainly not HR, who didn't arrive back till 3 days after I did. And the very first thing they did when they got back was to revise that line that says, no note, no pay. It now reads, if the employee calls in and says they have the flu, you better believe them, because your mistake could be on you. Thank you. Alan Iyer, everybody! 7 minutes in heaven with Alan Iyer right at it. There you go. So you know, at Disneyland,